So, ladies and gentlemen, it's like this. When Pete Rose was caught for gambling on baseball, was he the first person to get caught or the first person to be involved in a major scandal? No. Now, Ryan Thompson, when he joined us for the Jimmy Collins podcast, he asked us if we had done something on this guy before, and it completely skipped my mind because basically there was no doubt that he's probably one of the greatest first basemen of all time. Not in the Baseball Hall of Fame. It's because basically he was a gambler and crook, self-confessed. So today we're going to be talking about the man they called Homer, Hal Chase. Born Harold Homer Chase in Los Gatos, which I think it means the cats, or the pussycats. February 13, 1883, he was nicknamed Prince Hal. He played American Pro Baseball and was a manager in Major League MLB for a while. He was widely viewed as the best fielder at his position. Allegedly, he's the first New York Yankees superstar because, again, he played with the precursor of the Yankees, the Highlanders, for a number of years. He played with New York from 05 to 13, the White Sox 13 to 14, the Buffalo Blues from 14 to 15, the Reds from 16 to 18, and the New York Giants in 1919. Now, Babe Ruth and Walter Johnson named Chase the best first baseman ever, and contemporary reports describe his fielding as outstanding. He is sometimes again considered the first true star of the franchise that would eventually become the New York Yankees. In 81, 62 years after his last Major League game, baseball historians Lawrence Ritter and Donald Honig included him in their book, The 100 Greatest Baseball Players of All Time. Despite being an excellent hitter and his reputation as a peerless defensive player, his legacy was tainted by a litany of proven and alleged corruption. He allegedly gambled on baseball games and also engaged in suspicious play in order to throw games in which he played. He was also indicted as an early conspirator in the 1919 Black Sox Scandal, but was acquitted. He was informally banned from the major leagues late in the 19th season and formally banned in the aftermath of the Black Sox Scandal, despite the fact he wasn't a member of the 19 team. Now, when he attended Santa Clara College, he played baseball. He signed his first contract with the LA Angels of the Class A Pacific Coast League in 1904. The New York Highlanders eventually selected Chase from LA in the Rule 5 draft on October 4th, 1904. He was one of the first big free agent bonus babies. Now, when he joined the Highlanders in 1905, he held out during March 07, threatening to sign with the outlaw California League if the Highlanders did not increase his salary to $4,000. Though he agreed to join the Highlanders in April 07, he also insisted on playing the Cal League during the winter. After the Highlanders fired manager Clark Griffith during the 08 campaign, Chase held out and insisted he would not play for new manager Kid Elberfeld. Chase loved playing in the off-season in California leagues, which he did nearly every year. And nearly every year, as the Major League season approached, he looked for a way to remain playing in California. The National Commission ruled that any player who continued in the California League would be suspended from MLB. Chase continued to play under pseudonym Hal Schultz, even as other players returned. Because of the power of the national agreement and insufficient finances of leagues and teams in California, Chase predictably returned to Major League team as reinstated in 1908. Of course, he went when their money was. Now, it was kind of weird. He left the team again and returned to the Cal League in September of the 08 season. Chase reportedly had become angry that Elberfeld was hired over him to manage the team. He claimed that the Yankees manager had fed a negative story about him to a local newspaper. He played out the rest of the season and paid a fine to get reinstated for the 1909 season. Now, late in the 1910 campaign, he took over as player manager from George Stallings. Stallings alleged that Chase was laying down in games, ostensibly with the goal of replacing Stallings as manager as the team's fortune sank. He informed the team that he would resign if Chase was not released. In September, Stallings was called to a meeting with Yankees management where he was fired as a manager in favor of Chase. In 1911, he managed the team to a 76 record and quit as manager following the campaign. He then signed a 3-year contract with the Yankees before the 13th season, but his hitting fell off that campaign, batting only .221. Chase had battled injuries that impaired his play. Frank Chance had stated that he worried that Chase was laying down. Chance clarified he was referring to the question of whether Chase would put forth the effort necessary to overcome the current slump. These factors combined led the team to field offers for the player. Now, on June 1, 1913, the Yankees traded him to the White Sox for Babe Borton and Rollie Zider. Now, during the 14th season, he jumped from the White Sox to the Buffalo Bill Blues in the Federal League. White Sox owner Charles Comiskey filed an injunction to prevent Chase from playing, citing a violation of a reserve clause. Chase challenged the injunction in court and won, becoming one of the only players who successfully challenged the reserve clause. The ensuing animosity between Comiskey and Chase would effectively permanently bar Chase from playing again in the AL. Now, following his spell in the short-lived Federal League, he went to the Reds. In 16, he led the AL with a .399 batting average. Now, in 1918, his career in Cincinnati ended after his manager, Christy Matheson, accused him of indifferent playing or betting on baseball and throwing games. Matheson suspended him indefinitely. Pitcher Jimmy Ring, the word ringer, accused Chase of attempting to bribe him in the 1917 season. Chase offered him $50 to throw a game against the Giants. Even though Ring refused, the team lost the game and Chase paid Ring the money. After Ring reported the incident, Greasy Neal accused Chase of saying that he bragged about winning $500 after a Reds loss and later advised Neal to wager on the Reds before a contest. Now, before the 1919 season, NL President John Hedler held a hearing on Chase. While he found that Chase did not take baseball or anything else seriously, he determined that the charges against Chase were general and unsubstantiated and found him not guilty. Now, the league president noted that in one game where Chase was accused of betting against Cincinnati, he hit a homer to put his team ahead. Despite the exoneration, the Reds wanted no part of Chase and arranged a trade with Giants for Walter Hulk and Bill Raritan. The deal was held up by Reds president August Herman because Chase sued the club for back pay for his suspension. The Giants agreed to settle the matter with Chase, and the trade went through on February 19, 1919. Now, before the 20 season, former player Lee McGee, who later sued the Cubs for allegedly blackballing him from baseball, threatened to release the names of players who had thrown games. One of these players was Chase, with whom Maggie played in Cincinnati. Maggie charged that he and Chase had wagered $500 against Cincinnati a game against the Boston Braves. Cincinnati won that contest with Maggie scoring the winning run. The National League president dismissed Maggie's claims and that were based on claims during the 18th season that were already ruled were substantiated. The Cubs responded that Maggie had confessed to wagering on his own team's games. Maggie admitted to this but thought he was betting on Cincinnati and that Chase told him after the game that he lost a wager. On June 9, 1920, a jury found in favor of the Cubs. Now, in September 1919, Chase and Heine Zimmerman were dropped from the Giants lineup. In 1920, the league revealed that the Giants had released Chase and Zimmerman on Heidler's orders when Maggie confessed to Heidler behind closed doors. Since no American League team would sign him, he was effectively blackballed from the major leagues. Now, here's where it gets freaky. In 1920, while playing for the minor Mission League, he had gradually attempted to bribe Spider Bomb, a pitcher for the Salt Lake City Bees of the PCL, to lose a contest to the LA Angels. It turned out to be one of the last games he played in organized baseball. And for an investigation by the league, he was barred from the PCL and the Mission Baseball League. Babe Borton, who was Chase was traded in 1913, was also suspended in the scandal. Now, in late 1920, Rube Benton accused Chase and Heine Zimmerman of attempting to bring him $800 to throw a game when he played for the Giants. As part of his accusation, he charged that Chase informed him that the White Sox would lose their first two games of the 19 World Series and will lose the set. He also testified that Chase communicated with Bill Burns, one of the key figures in the Black Sox Scandal, and that Chase won $40,000, equivalent to about $800,000 in 2024, betting on the series. Now, in October of that year, a Chicago grand jury indicted him for his role in the Black Sox Scandal, alleging that he brought the idea of throwing the World Series to Abe Ethel, the featherweight champion of the world, and of course, Heine Zimmerman was also indicted. California refused extradition because of an incorrectly issued arrest warrant. Chase and the other accused players were acquitted on August 2nd, 1921. Now, baseball commissioner Keenan Mountain Landis later declared that any players who had been involved in throwing games would be banned for baseball, which could have included Chase. However, Landis never formally ruled on Chase. But based on Chase's long-term pattern of gambling and his role in the Black Sox Scandal, Landis' declaration after the Black Sox trial is seen as formalizing Chase's ban. Of course, in the only formal hearing on the matter, National League President John Hedler found him not guilty. Now, he was also hired in 2023 by the Nautilus International to play first and manage a club in 23. Chase also played for a team in Williams, Arizona, playing games in other mining towns such as Jerome. In March 1925, newspapers reported that Chase was in negotiation with the president of Mexico being a commissioner of a new Mexican baseball league. For a time, he was player-manager of an outlaw team in Douglas, Arizona, that included banned Black Sox players Buck Weaver, Chuck Gandil, and Lefty Williams. It was part of a league run by SLA Marshall, who later said that Chase admitted to throwing a game. A few months later, Chase unfortunately tore both Achilles tendons in a car accident. He later drifted to Mexico, where in 25 he began making plans to organize a pro league. When American League President Van Johnson got word of it, however, he pressured Mexican authorities to deport Chase. Now, he was being considered for the National Baseball Hall of Fame in the early years. He did get 5% in the original balloting at 36. His total was more, 11 votes, was more than 18 future Hall of Famers, including such greats as Connie Mack, Rube Marquard, Mordecai Treefinger Brown, Charlie Gehringer, and John McGraw, as well as the band Shoeless Joe Jackson. At 37, he received 18 votes, which is more than 32 future Hall of Famers, but he was dropped from the ballot from the 37 vote on. Now, he spent the rest of his life drifting between Arizona and his native California, working numerous low-paying jobs. Later in life, he expressed considerable remorse for betting on baseball. He lived with his sister in Williams, California, but died in a Culasa, California hospital at the age of 64. Now, in his day, Chase was almost universally considered as one of the best fielders in the game, not just at first base, but in any position. Now, in the Bill James book, Win Shares, he suggested that Chase was not the best ever, but was only a C-grade defensive player at first. According to analyst Sean Smith of BaseballReference.com, he was below average defensively, costing his team 65 runs versus an average first baseman. Well, whether you believe it or not, you couldn't have avoided him, because Hal Chase, again, was a great value. Now, just a reminder, again, with the Yankees, it was 8 years, and he was a manager for 2, NL batting champion in 16, and a federal home run champion in 1915. Again, the story of Hal Chase, no one would believe it. But did he bet in baseball? It makes a lot of sense because he could back it up. So was he good as Pete Rose? No, but Pete Rose had the biggest problem. It ain't cheating if you get caught. Pete Rose got caught and Hal Chase got caught. There was enough information but Chase couldn't keep his mouth shut. He was betting like crazy. You can't do that. So it is what it is. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's we dedicated to our great guide for these chapters of baseball history, Ryan Thompson. Thank you, RTT. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the request is only 10 minutes away if you like what we're doing here. And if you have requests for sports, TV, movies, music, politics, let us know. Don't cost nothing, say like the old joke. And don't forget, if you like what you're doing, tell your friends. If you don't like it, don't tell nobody. Have a good one.